The Draxian warships appeared without warning on a Tuesday morning, materializing through a ripple in space that scientists would later call a dimensional fold. 7 obsidian vessels, each shaped like elongated teardrops with pulsing violet lights along their hulls, positioned themselves in low Earth orbit. Global defense systems went haywire. Nuclear submarines surfaced. Fighter jets scrambled. The United Nations Security Council convened an emergency session. Admiral Li Chen of the Earth Defense Force had trained for this moment her entire career, though she never truly believed it would come. Watching the alien vessels through the reinforced windows of EDF headquarters in Geneva, she felt oddly calm. They could have attacked immediately, she told the gathered world leaders via holographic conference. The fact that they haven't suggests they want something other than our destruction. The first communication came 6 hours after arrival, a request for a diplomatic meeting on neutral ground. The location: International Space Station Alpha, humanity's most advanced orbital platform. The Draxians emerged from their shuttle like liquid shadow. Tall, slender beings with iridescent skin that shifted between deep purple and midnight blue, they moved with unsettling grace. Their eyes, 4 per individual, arranged in diamond patterns, contained no pupils, only swirling mists of silver. Most disturbing was how they seemed to shimmer at the edges, as though not fully committed to physical form. Supreme Commander Krelfax, leader of the Draxian delegation, spoke through a translator device that rendered his vibrating, multi-tone speech into flat English. "We seek understanding of your species," the alien said, those mist-filled eyes focusing intently on Admiral Chen. "Your biological responses intrigue us." Dr. Amara Okafor, Earth's leading xenobiologist, noticed how the aliens' attention shifted whenever humans displayed emotional reactions. When a junior officer dropped a datapad in nervousness, all 4 Draxians instantly turned toward him, their bodies leaning forward almost imperceptibly. Throughout the negotiations, the aliens requested strange concessions: permission to sample Earth's atmosphere, to observe human population centers from orbit, to analyze medical data about neurological responses. They showed particular interest in psychiatric research on fear responses, asking pointed questions about phobias, anxiety disorders, and nightmare studies. "They're mapping something," Dr. Okafor whispered to Admiral Chen during a recess. "Not our territories or resources, something else." The final day of initial contact, the Draxians requested human biological samples, harmless skin cells, they assured. When Admiral Chen agreed, Dr. Okafor noticed how Supreme Commander Krelfax's skin rippled with what might have been anticipation. The Draxians departed abruptly that evening, promising to return for further productive discussions in exactly 3 Earth months. Their ships vanished the same way they had appeared, leaving only electromagnetic disturbances as evidence they had been there at all. In her private laboratory that night, Dr. Okafor analyzed the recording of the final meeting. She focused on the moment when a human blood sample was handed over. The Draxian called Zenith Secundus had touched the vial, and for just a microsecond, its eyes had flared bright, like a predator scenting prey. "They were scanning our neurochemistry," she told Admiral Chen the next morning. "Specifically, the compounds associated with our fear response." "Why would advanced aliens care about human fear?" Chen asked. Dr. Okafor's face was grim. "I don't know. But whatever the reason, I don't think we're going to like it." Exactly 3 months after first contact, as promised, the Draxian ships returned. This time there were 21 vessels, arranging themselves in a perfect geometric pattern that spanned the globe. No communication was attempted. No diplomatic channels opened. They simply hung in orbit, silent sentinels against the stars. "What are they waiting for?" Admiral Chen demanded, pacing the war room floor. Screens surrounding her displayed the alien vessels from various satellite feeds. The answer came at dawn the next day. Citizens in Tokyo reported unusual atmospheric disturbances, shimmering purple mists descending from the sky like luminescent rain. Within hours, similar reports emerged from New York, London, Mumbai, Rio de Janeiro, and 30 other major population centers worldwide. Bioweapon deployment. Major Jackson Rodriguez concluded, Earth's foremost expert on chemical warfare. His team, working alongside Dr. Okafor, collected samples using atmospheric drones, but like nothing we've seen before. In her containment lab, Dr. Okafor examined the compound structure. It's targeting neurological pathways, specifically those associated with amygdala function. She looked up from her microscope, face pale. This isn't designed to kill us. It's designed to terrify us. Aboard the Draxian mothership, Supreme Commander Krulthax observed holographic projections of Earth's cities. His second-in-command, Zenith Secundus, monitored a dashboard of pulsing lights that mapped human emotional responses across the globe. The fear harvest begins, Krulthax's translator rendered in flat tones. Their neurochemical output will sustain our fleet for decades. Earth's military response proved ineffective. Fighter jets dispatched to intercept the alien vessels found their electronics scrambled once they approached. Missile systems failed to lock onto targets that seemed to exist partially out of phase with reality. Ground forces mobilized to major cities found themselves unable to disperse the mist, which evaded containment and continued spreading inexorably. In Geneva, world leaders gathered in emergency session. Video feeds showed the purple mist advancing through city streets, seeping through windows and air conditioning systems. Early exposure reports described intense psychological effects, hallucinations of worst fears, panic attacks, primal terror responses. This isn't conventional warfare, Admiral Chen told the assembled presidents and prime ministers. They're not trying to destroy our infrastructure or kill our people. They want us afraid. Dr. Okafor's team worked frantically to develop countermeasures. The compound bonds with neuroreceptors, she explained, pointing to molecular diagrams. It amplifies the brain's natural fear responses tenfold. Regular fear becomes terror. Anxiety becomes paralyzing dread. Major Rodriguez watched as test animals exposed to the compound exhibited extreme stress responses. How long before exposed humans break psychologically? He asked. Hours, maybe days, Dr. Okafor replied, her voice grim. Mass panic is inevitable. Civil infrastructure will collapse as people become incapable of rational thought. On screens throughout the command center, purple mist continued spreading across Earth's cities. Zenith Secundus reported to his commander as the first wave of human exposure reached critical mass. The first harvest activates, the alien said, skin rippling with anticipation. Soon, they will know true fear. But something unexpected was happening in Tokyo's Shibuya district, where the mist had been present longest. Instead of mass panic in the streets, small groups were gathering. And they weren't screaming. Some appeared to be laughing. Reports flooded in from Tokyo's Shibuya district as local authorities struggled to comprehend what they were seeing. In the purple mist-filled streets, instead of mass hysteria, small crowds gathered with smartphones raised, recording their experiences. Outside a popular nightclub, someone had set up speakers blasting horror movie soundtracks, while partygoers danced through the densest concentrations of the alien gas. What in the hell is happening? Major Rodriguez whispered, watching the live feeds. Dr. Okafor enhanced the audio. Laughter mixed with screams, but not screams of terror, excited screams, the kind heard on roller coasters and in haunted houses. They're enjoying it, she said, disbelief evident in her voice. Similar patterns emerged across the globe within hours. In New York's Times Square, where the purple mist swirled densest, street vendors were selling cheap plastic masks labeled alien FEAR gas filters that did nothing but let wearers feel like part of the experience. In London, pub crawls were reorganized as Fright Night tours, guiding participants through mist-heavy areas. On social media, hashtags like #FearlessChallenge and #ScareInvasion were trending globally. Teenagers competed to find the most concentrated areas of mist, recording their fear reactions for likes and shares. In Dr. Okafor's lab, test subjects reported intense fear responses, racing hearts, adrenaline spikes, fight-or-flight activation, but coupled with unexpected secondary emotions, exhilaration, excitement, sometimes even euphoria. It's like a really good horror movie, one volunteer explained. You're terrified, but you know you're safe. So it's fun. Aboard the Draxian mothership, Zenith Secundus reported to Supreme Commander Krulfax with visible distress, his translucent skin undulating with confused patterns. The neurochemical readings show success, the alien said. Fear production at predicted levels, but behavior patterns do not match predictive models. Screens surrounding them showed crowds in Madrid organizing an impromptu fear festival in a mist-filled plaza. In Sydney, a late-night television host was broadcasting live from inside the heaviest concentration zone, making jokes about alien party drugs while his pupils dilated with chemically induced terror. Impossible, Krulfax hissed, the translator struggling to interpret his multi-tone speech. Every species we've harvested collapsed with the first exposure. Social order disintegrates. Military defense becomes impossible as rational thought ceases. Humans appear to be deliberately seeking exposure, Zenith Secundus noted. They'd move toward higher concentrations, not away. Major Rodriguez received reports from military units worldwide. Despite intense neurological effects, soldiers remained functional. Some reported the mist actually enhanced performance, the fear response sharpening reflexes and focus rather than degrading them. Every other species the Draxians encountered must have treated fear as purely negative, Dr. Okafor theorized during an emergency briefing. Something to be avoided at all costs. But humans. We pay money to be scared, Admiral Chen finished. Horror movies, haunted houses, extreme sports. Dr. Okafor nodded. Exactly. We've evolved using fear as entertainment, as catharsis. The Draxians have never encountered a species that does this. On a screen behind them, a live stream showed Tokyo residents organizing an impromptu horror film festival in Yoyogi Park, projecting classic movies onto portable screens while sitting in clouds of purple mist. The alien's ultimate weapon had become humanity's newest recreational drug. So what do we do? Admiral Chen asked. Dr. Okafor's eyes gleamed with sudden inspiration. We don't fight it. We weaponize our enjoyment. If they feed on fear, let's give them indigestion. The United Nations Emergency Council convened virtually, with leaders joining from secure bunkers worldwide. Dr. Okafor stood before wall-sized screens displaying molecular structures of the alien compound alongside human brain scans. The Draxian fear gas works exactly as intended, she explained. It triggers our amygdala, the brain's fear center, creating neurochemical cascades identical to extreme terror. Where their plan failed was in assuming our response to those chemicals would mirror other species they've encountered. Admiral Chen watched military footage showing citizens in Beijing organizing fear tours through mist-heavy districts. Why are we different? Evolutionary divergence, Dr. Okafor replied. Humans are possibly the only species in the galaxy that deliberately seeks fear as entertainment. We've built entire industries around controlled terror. Horror films, haunted attractions, scary stories. We've evolved psychological mechanisms to process fear in ways that can actually produce pleasure. Major Rodriguez entered with a tablet displaying new data. We've analyzed brain scans from volunteers exposed to the gas. After initial fear response, secondary brain regions activate, those associated with play behavior and reward pathways. The gas triggers terror, but our brains quickly contextualize it as non-threatening. Like watching a horror movie, a French delegate observed. Frightening but safe. Exactly, Dr. Okafor said. But there's something else. A teenage hacker in Seattle, Zoe Chen, intercepted Draxian communications. Their ship's power systems are directly tied to fear energy harvesting. They're not just terrorizing us. They're feeding on our fear. The revelation sent murmurs through the virtual assembly. In her bedroom in Seattle, 16-year-old Zoe Chen had discovered the pattern purely by accident. While testing a modified radio telescope for her science project, she detected energy pulses between Earth's surface and the Draxian ships that correlated perfectly with social media reports of fear gas exposure. They're harvesting emotional energy, she explained to the military officials who'd shown up at her door hours after she'd posted her findings on an astronomy forum. It's strongest when people first experience the gas, then diminishes as they get used to it. Meanwhile, in laboratories worldwide, scientists confirmed that the Draxians literally consumed fear, drawing the neurochemical energy like farmers harvesting crops. Terror was both weapon and sustenance. Dr. Okafor's team made another discovery. While analyzing Zoe's data alongside their own readings, they found that human fear responses were qualitatively different from what the Draxians expected. Our fear contained elements of excitement, anticipation, even joy, emotions that appeared to confuse the aliens' harvesting technology. It's like they're trying to extract pure ethanol, but our fear is mixed with other compounds, Major Rodriguez explained. It's not working as efficiently as they planned. Admiral Chen saw the strategic opportunity immediately. If they feed on fear, and our fear is different, we can use that. Dr. Okafor finished. Humanity's unique relationship with fear isn't just saving us. It could be our counterweapon. The plan that emerged was unprecedented. Rather than evacuating cities or dispersing the mist, Earth would embrace it. Collection centers would be established where volunteers could experience controlled fear in monitored environments, while scientists harvested the resulting neurochemicals. Operation Scare Factory was born. We're not going to fight the fear, Admiral Chen told world leaders. We're going to weaponize it. Aboard their mothership, the Draxians detected a sudden, massive surge in fear production worldwide. Supreme Commander Krulfax watched in confusion as humans voluntarily entered the highest concentration zones, their fear signatures spiking, but tinged with something the aliens had never encountered before. The creatures who had evolved to feed on pure terror were about to experience something entirely new. Humanity's joy of being afraid. Within 72 hours of the Emergency Council's decision, Operation Scare Factory transformed from desperate plan to global initiative. Stadiums, theaters, and convention centers worldwide were converted into fear collection facilities where volunteers lined up by the thousands. Inside Tokyo Dome, the world's first full-scale fear factory hummed with activity. Volunteers moved through elaborately designed scenarios, haunted mazes filled with professional scare actors, virtual reality chambers projecting personalized phobia simulations, and carefully controlled exposure rooms where the purple mist concentration was precisely regulated. Neurochemical extraction at 86% efficiency, reported Dr. Tanaka, head of the Tokyo facility. Each volunteer produces enough concentrated fear extract for approximately one fear bomb. Dr. Okafor observed from a control room as medical staff monitored volunteers' vital signs. The key breakthrough was recognizing that fear experienced voluntarily has a different neurochemical signature than unwanted terror. She explained to Major Rodriguez. The Draxians can't distinguish between them, but the human brain processes them entirely differently. Hollywood directors volunteered to design the most effective scare experiences. Renowned horror writers created narrative frameworks to enhance emotional impact. Theme park engineers built mechanical contraptions that triggered primal fear responses. What began as resistance transformed into something between global art project and war effort. In orbit, the Draxian vessels detected unprecedented spikes in fear production. Supreme Commander Krulfax called an emergency council of his own. The humans have increased fear output by 470%. Zenith Secundus reported, his translucent skin rippling with confusion patterns, but it contains anomalous emotional signatures we cannot identify. Impossible. Another commander hissed. No species voluntarily produces fear. It is universally avoided. Sensor readings from major population centers showed deliberate fear production facilities. Zenith Secundus continued. They are manufacturing terror, intentionally. Supreme Commander Krulfax's silver eyes swirled with increasing agitation. If they can manipulate their own fear production, they may weaponize it against us. Deploy the horror hunters. On Earth, Admiral Chen received the first prototypes of humanity's counterweapon. Fear bombs containing concentrated human emotional energy, designed to overwhelm Draxian sensory systems. Early tests showed promising results. Draxian communication frequencies disrupted when exposed to the uniquely human blend of fear, mixed with excitement and pleasure. Zoe Chen, now working directly with military intelligence, made another discovery while analyzing intercepted Draxian transmissions. They have a biological weakness, she told Admiral Chen during an emergency briefing. Their species evolved to process pure terror, the kind produced by prey species fleeing predators. Our fear as entertainment contains emotional compounds they can't metabolize. It's like alcohol poisoning to them. The strategic implications were immediately clear. Earth wouldn't just defend. It would actively attack using the Draxians' own weapon against them. Global media networks broadcast continuous horror content, encouraging citizens to feed the resistance through controlled fear experiences. Volunteers proudly wore badges showing how many fear donation sessions they'd completed. What the aliens intended as psychological warfare had transformed into a bizarre form of global unity. As Operation Scare Factory reached peak production capacity, orbital sensors detected new movement from the Draxian fleet. Smaller vessels were detaching from the motherships, descending toward Earth's surface. They're sending ground forces, Admiral Chen announced to the Emergency Council. The horror hunters are coming. Dr. Okafor studied the incoming vessels' trajectories. They're targeting our scare factories. They'd know what we're doing. Good, replied Admiral Chen with grim satisfaction. Let them come. We've prepared something special for them. The Draxian ground forces entered Earth's atmosphere at midnight. Sleek, obsidian pods that twisted through defense grids with the same impossible physics as their larger vessels. They landed in coordinated strikes near major scare factories across 6 continents. Within the pods emerged the elite units of the Draxian harvest forces, horror hunters. Unlike the translucent forms of the diplomatic caste, these were solid, predatory shapes with liquid metal limbs that could stretch and reform. Their 4 silver eyes glowed with hungry anticipation as they moved through city streets, leaving trails of concentrated purple mist in their wake. They're different from the ones we met on the space station, Admiral Chen observed, watching tactical feeds from Tokyo. These are weaponized harvesters. Dr. Okafor analyzed combat footage. They're absorbing fear directly from humans they encounter, no gas required. Physical proximity amplifies the effect. The horror hunters advance toward Earth's defense forces, expecting to find chaos and disorder. Soldiers crippled by terror, unable to form coherent resistance. Instead, they encountered troops equipped with prototype mural dampeners, developed from Dr. Okafor's research, devices that converted fear responses into controlled adrenaline boosts. The filters don't stop fear, Major Rodriguez explained to frontline commanders. They just transform it into combat focus. But humanity's true defense wasn't technological. It was psychological. Across the globe, citizens implemented the laughter protocol. When horror hunters appeared, crowds didn't flee in terror. They laughed. They jeered. They treated the alien predators like performers in a haunted attraction. In New York, cosplayers dressed in homemade Draxian costumes infiltrated actual horror hunter squads, creating confusion. In Rio de Janeiro, carnival dancers surrounded a hunter unit, incorporating them into an impromptu performance. In London, pub patrons chanted drinking songs while recording close encounters for social media. It's disorienting them, Zoe Chen reported, tracking alien communication frequencies. Their neural networks are designed to process terror and submission. They can't interpret mockery or excitement. The horror hunter's tactical advantage evaporated when humans refused to behave as proper prey. More critically, the aliens found themselves lured into elaborate traps. Special containment teams, using fear-bait volunteers, directed hunter units into stadiums and arenas retrofitted as capture facilities. Inside Madrid's central arena, Dr. Okafor observed the first successful capture. The contained horror hunter writhed in apparent discomfort as specially trained volunteers projected emotions the alien couldn't process. Fear mixed with laughter, terror blended with exhilaration. It's biochemical overload, she explained to Admiral Chen. Like forcing someone to consume a toxic mixture of stimulants and depressants simultaneously. Worldwide, citizens organized fear parties with horror themes specifically designed to attract and overwhelm Draxian metabolism. Every captured hunter provided invaluable data on alien physiology. More importantly, each capture demonstrated that Earth's emotional weapon worked. Aboard the mothership, Supreme Commander Krulfax received increasingly desperate reports from his ground forces. The humans are using emotional warfare, Zenith Secundus reported. Our hunters cannot metabolize their response patterns. Many units have fallen into capture scenarios. Reports from horror hunter commanders grew erratic. Descriptions of humans laughing while experiencing terror made no biological sense to the Draxian hierarchy. The concept violated their most fundamental understanding of sentient psychology. Krulfax made his decision. Recall surviving hunter units. Prepare the flagship for direct assault on their command center. His 4 silver eyes swirled with determination. If we cannot harvest their fear, we will eliminate their leadership and force capitulation through conventional means. On Earth, Admiral Chen watched the Draxian mothership change orbit. They're coming for us directly, she said. Time for the final phase. The Draxian mothership broke from its orbital pattern, descending into Earth's upper atmosphere with an escort of 7 battle cruisers. Its teardrop shape rippled with energy pulses as conventional weapons systems activated, apparently abandoning fear-based warfare for direct military assault. They're targeting Geneva, Admiral Chen announced to the Emergency Council. Specifically, our headquarters and Dr. Okafor's primary research facility. Humanity's conventional defenses mobilized. Fighter squadrons, missile batteries, orbital platforms, but earlier encounters had proven their limited effectiveness against Draxian phase-shifting technology. Conventional weapons won't stop them, Major Rodriguez confirmed. We need to deploy the fear arsenal. Operation Scare Factory had produced enough concentrated fear extract for one massive offensive. Specialized aircraft equipped with neuroemitter arrays were loaded with canisters containing humanity's emotional counterweapon, not just fear, but the unique human blend of terror and exhilaration that had proven toxic to Draxian biology. Pilots volunteers reported to launching bays wearing modified helmets designed by Dr. Okafor's team, devices that stimulated controlled fear responses while simultaneously harvesting the emotional energy as ammunition. You'll experience intense fear during the mission, Dr. Okafor warned the squadron leaders. It's by design. The more terrified you become, the more powerful your weapons. But remember, it's just like a roller coaster or horror movie. Channel the fear into focus. Admiral Chen addressed the pilots via hologram. You've all volunteered for humanity's strangest combat mission. You'll be fighting with emotions instead of bullets. Fear will be both your shield and your sword. The Earth Defense Force launched its counterattack as the Draxian flagship entered lower atmosphere. Fighter pilots approached the alien vessels playing personalized fear stimuli through their neural interfaces, everything from horror movie soundtracks to simulations of their worst phobias. I'm terrified, and it feels amazing. One pilot reported, her fear harvesting metrics showing record output levels. The squadron deployed their payload, concentrated fear bombs that detonated against Draxian hull shields, releasing clouds of highly refined human emotional energy. The effect was immediate and devastating. Draxian ships faltered mid-flight, their phase-shifting technologies fluctuating wildly. Communication frequencies filled with distress signals in multi-toned alien languages. 3 smaller vessels broke formation, retreating toward orbit. Direct hit on their flagship's propulsion system, Major Rodriguez reported, watching tactical displays. They're vulnerable to focused emotional attacks. But Supreme Commander Krulthax wasn't retreating. The damaged mothership continued its descent toward Geneva, adjusting course toward a new target. Dr. Okafor's research vessel, which had departed the ground facility minutes earlier carrying humanity's complete psychological profile and research data. They've identified our information as the key strategic asset, Admiral Chen realized. Without Dr. Okafor's research, we couldn't replicate the fear weapons. Dr. Okafor's vessel, a hypersonic research craft with minimal defensive capabilities, accelerated to maximum speed. The Draxian flagship, despite significant damage, adjusted course to pursue. They're deploying transport vessels, Zoe Chen reported, monitoring Draxian communications. Boarding parties, Supreme Commander Krulthax is leading personally. Admiral Chen ordered all remaining squadrons to protect Dr. Okafor's ship, but the damaged Draxian flagship still managed to match trajectories, magnetic grapples securing the smaller human vessel. They've locked onto my ship, Dr. Okafor reported calmly. Boarding imminent. Evacuate immediately, Admiral Chen ordered. Negative, Dr. Okafor replied. I have a better idea. If Krulthax wants our research so badly, I'll explain it to him personally. The airlock between vessels cycled open with a hiss of equalizing pressure. Dr. Okafor stood alone in her research ship's main laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays of human brain scans and molecular models of fear compounds. She had evacuated her crew but stayed behind, armed with nothing but understanding. Supreme Commander Krulthax entered first, his translucent form more solid than during their first meeting. Battle configuration, she surmised. 4 elite horror hunters flanked him, their silver eyes scanning for threats. You possess knowledge that threatens our species. Krulthax's translator rendered his multi-toned speech. Your understanding of emotional warfare must be destroyed. Dr. Okafor nodded calmly. Before you attempt that, I'd like to show you something. She gestured to a holographic display. This is how the human brain processes fear. Neural pathways illuminated, showing the complex interplay between amygdala, hypothalamus, and higher cognitive functions. Another display activated, showing side-by-side comparisons of brain activity during different experiences. This scan shows terror, pure, unwanted fear, she explained, pointing to one image. And this, she indicated another, is a human watching a horror movie. Biologically, they're nearly identical, but psychologically, they're entirely different. Krulthax moved closer, silver eyes swirling with reluctant curiosity. Explain. Humans evolved using fear as more than a warning system, Dr. Okafor continued. We transformed it into a tool for growth, entertainment, even social bonding. We seek controlled fear experiences because they make us stronger. She played video clips. Roller coaster riders screaming then laughing. Horror movie audiences jumping in fright then smiling. Children playing tag and shrieking with delight. Fear and joy are not opposites for us, she explained. They're often companions. We laugh in darkness not because we don't feel fear, but because we've learned to dance with it. The horror hunters shifted uncomfortably as she played a recording of children telling ghost stories around a campfire, their fear responses clearly visible yet mixed with pleasure and social connection. Your species evolved as predators feeding on pure terror, Dr. Okafor said to Krulthax. But you've never encountered prey that embraces fear, that transforms it into strength. Something shifted in the Supreme Commander's silver eyes. A recognition, perhaps, of something beyond his evolutionary understanding. Your strategy was perfect against every other species you've encountered, she acknowledged. But humans are possibly unique in the galaxy. We pay money to feel afraid. We've built industries around recreational terror. Dr. Okafor activated one final display, a compilation of humanity's response to the invasion. Footage showed people laughing while surrounded by purple mist, volunteers competing to produce the most fear extract, soldiers using controlled terror as combat focus. We don't need to destroy you, she said quietly. We can teach you something new. Krulfax was silent for a long moment, his translucent form rippling with complex patterns that his translator couldn't render. Finally, he spoke. In 10,000 years of harvest, we have never— The translator paused, searching for appropriate terms. We have never considered fear could be voluntary. 1 year later, Dr. Okafor stood on a stage at the newly established interspecies cultural exchange, addressing the first graduating class of Draxian students. Beside her, Krulfax, now bearing the title Cultural Ambassador rather than Supreme Commander, observed with silver eyes that had learned to recognize humor. The universe is filled with terrors, Dr. Okafor told the assembled delegates from both species. But as humans have long understood, the greatest victory over fear isn't its absence. She smiled at her alien colleague. It's learning to laugh in its face.